Hello, everybody, and welcome. Today is September 19th. I'm Aurora. This class is called Lessons for Full Spectrum Humans. And last week, so it's roughly a 20-part class. Last week was lesson 11, but I took it as a semester midpoint. We're imagining that we as a class are trudging up a very challenging mountain, and what we did was found a little rocky outcropping, kind of stopped and took an overview of where we've been kind of behind us, and also looking at the path that we still have in front of us. And then I did the weekend intensive. So welcome. Profound welcome, happy, good, joyous welcome to all of the new people that are in the class. Anybody who found my work through Lauren Galley and the quantum conversation that I had on her show, and then I did the weekend intensive to get anyone who is completely new to these ideas that I present up to speed, because we as a class this semester have already been going for about 2.5 or 3 months in terms of establishing basic concepts. So what I went over in the weekend intensive are things that everyone here, wait, where's my little sculpture? Everyone here is already very familiar with. Things like, what is this shape? What are the chakras? What are the layers of reality? What are the energy paths that go around here? Things like the time vortex, the idea of being recycled through your life endlessly over and over. Let me grab my little trackpad, my magic. It's literally called a magic thing. That's what they call it in Apple, like just get the magic thing. But before I do all of this, so I did some recap over the weekend. I have a new insight to share, and the insight is about human biblical teachings about angels and demons. And so in our class, when I talk about the occupiers of the interstices, so I'm talking about this membrane here, this interstice, the membrane of death, and that there are supernatural consciousness residues that reside on the membrane of death. And in lesson 18 of this class, so a few weeks down the road, we're going to get into where do they come from, how did they get there, why are they there? But for the main part of what I'm trying to do in sharing this insight is the idea that in human biblical terms, because a lot of us, even though you might not be a practicing Jew or Christian, our culture has as its foundation basis. It's like you might not believe in the Bhagavad Gita, but it's part of what your culture comes from. This idea of that there are supernatural creatures that are in constant dualistic opposition, you know, angel on one shoulder, demon on the other, angels versus devils, right? And when I'm teaching people in this class about these supernatural consciousness residues, I don't use the word demon because it's got so much baggage. It presses so many emotional buttons. So what I was calling them are those pesky occupiers of the interstices, like they're smudges on the lens, or like they're the turds who refuse to flush, they keep circling the bowl. So Pedro, I don't know if he's logged in today. Yeah, Pedro's here. Good to see you, man. He's very good. He logs in every week. Pedro called them the pooties for the acronym pesky occupiers of the interstices. So I've come up with these elaborate terms to say that they're anything but demons, but they are demons. That is what they are. And in lesson 18, I talk about the economy of hell, or the way that energy that is siphoned off from the land of the living is structured, the energetic economy of where that energy comes from and how it gets siphoned off and everything like that. But my insight that I wanted to share with this class before I even get into the meat and potatoes of what's recorded is the idea of angels, the idea of having an intermediary, or something that you have to supplicate yourself to. Supplicate is this: oh please, oh something out there, please, oh please do something. And so there's this cultural teaching, a foundation expectation in this world that we find ourselves in that says if you need something, and something that's, you know, whatever, outside of your human area of empowerment, that you supplicate yourself to something larger. Like you ask a saint, or you ask an angel, or you ask a ascended master, you ask a benevolent space alien, something other than you. Please take my message to God and make this thing happen that I need to make happen. And in examining that, as like I do my long walks with my dog and I do some introspection, I've come to understand that that is a flaw at the basic foundation, that it's part of the genetic squashing and part of what we need to rectify in humanity. So let me draw this out on the whiteboard, that if we have that here, let's make it fat colors. Oh, and make it so that you can see me. There you go. This is a cross-section of that yellow torus shape. And this is the singularity in the center, right? And here are these vortexes around the top. And we know that there's 2 more of these that go around like this, right? Very, very simplified. Let me just drink a bit of water. So this over here is the 0th dimension, and it's the everythingness of everything, right? And then this is the membrane of death, and this is a place where no consciousness is supposed to go. That's a no-go zone, because what is supposed to happen is you're supposed to be emanated from the source and actually go right around to here and then go directly up the center and reconnect, like making a big giant loop, as opposed to our present experience, which has everything to do with like making many multiple crochet loops all around here till you finally make it to the middle. And when I do that, of course, just always, I'm doing shorthand, but you're coming in from the other side too, so you circulate inward in that way. So let's talk about the time before death was invented. Before death was invented, no one ever hit the red zone over here. Everybody followed the blue pathway. Therefore, think about the types of experience you could be experiencing. You could be here, which would be like at home with God, but not Christian God. And I'm not pissing and shitting all over Christianity. I mean, pardon me, but I'm not trying to make fun of you at all. But an abstract God, a singularity God, the 0th dimension God. So you can be in the state of everythingness, overlapping with everything else. You can be here in the pathway of transferring your consciousness into the area of being alive, and you can be here, alive, but still connected to the divine and moving back to the source, which is also your destination. So you're either connected to God or you're becoming embodied, think like gestating in a womb or something like that, or coming into material being, or alive and journeying back towards the source that you came from. But on none of those pathways, in the perfect blue pathway world, on none of those pathways are you aware and active in the time field, but disembodied. And so this is how we would define angels. Beings who are not God, who have awareness, who are somehow active in the time field at some level of dimensionality, but who have never been embodied, right? And who are not in this area here. And that's not an option. So I'm trying to say that we have been given this programming, this cultural programming of expecting there to be demons. We know that demons exist. These are these supernatural consciousness residues that exist like blockages within the red blood cells, within the arteries trying to flow through the body. We know that those consciousnesses exist. But let's say I've changed my color here. Let's say I put a bunch of blue dots. Now I'm putting blue dots over here on the membrane of death. Are those angels? Would we define angels as beings who lived and then died and went to the membrane of death and have not, been resolved? No, that would be a supernatural residue consciousness that we would say is a putti, an occupier of the interstice. I'm sorry, I have to drink a lot. So as instead of saying, let's determine goodness or evilness based upon a series of motivations or those type of characteristics or qualities, let's determine goodness or evilness graphically, in the sense of where in this diagram do you exist? And if you exist on this red line over here, it ain't supposed to be there. You're pathogenic, you're aberrant, you're a thing that's not supposed to exist. And if you exist on this pathway over here, you're a thing that is supposed to exist. Or if you exist over here, you're a thing that is supposed to exist. That is very good. Because I think, so one of the insights that I got is that it is torturous and like a labyrinth that you'll just, with your mind, go through an infinite labyrinth over and over, trying to determine whether something is good or evil or angelic or demonic, simply based upon a conversation. Like having a conversation, figuring out like, what does it think? What does it feel? How does it behave? What's its value system? I think all of that is an endless, boring drain of energy that is not effective. Because I'm talking about like when humans start to develop higher capacities and when you start to telepathically connect with something, having to determine, is this a demon? Is this synthetic telepathy? Is this an angel? And there's always that presumption that angels exist and that angels will be speaking to you through this kind of telepathy experience. And the insight that I had is that, so wait, but I also want you to understand, wait, Aurora, are you telling us angels don't exist and all we've got are demons? Like, this is horrible. This is not what I'm telling you. Do not play your face off. You're okay. In the same way that I have told you that demons exist as like a software program that runs within your own DNA. Don't claw off your own face because demons are internal, but they're existing, like, let's say, in your blind spot, in the spot in your back where you can't quite reach and scratch effectively. So that's how they've been able to hide. They run as a chimera, like a thing that runs in the background, or a program that's always running in the background. Where are angels? Or where's the good stuff? So first of all, there's duality, the basic duality that we have programmed into our body, the expectation of two eyes, contrast-based vision, thing versus thing, and also all sorts of social presumptions that are based in duality. So much of our experience and expectation is based in duality. And then we have this book called the Bible that teaches us there's both angels and demons. But I think that the way that angels are presented is a con game, because I think that they're both demons. I think that the way that angels are presented in the Bible is that they are consciousness residues, like disembodied spirit beings that are intermediaries between yourself and the divine. And what I'm trying to say to you is that there's not supposed to be a barrier between you and the divine. You're supposed to connect directly to the divine. That's what that blue line is right there. That's you embodied in the physical world, having the experience of having senses and having your own experience as an individual, but also still connected to the thing that emanated you, that great conductor, that great composer, that great intelligence that it informs everything and has literally created this whole experience for itself. So we are supposed to be continually connected to that thing, not separated from that thing. So this is the question of what type of an animal would an angel be? Like a good demon, something that's not alive but not dead but connected to God. Like, there's no place in that diagram for that type of a consciousness. But I don't want you to think, oh no, well, oh crapola, that's the worst thing in the world, because it means like you're alive, surrounded by demons. But like, I'm sorry to tell you, like, that is an accurate portrayal of what is happening. You are divine. You have become emanated into this physical form, and you find yourself in the time field, in this physical form, surrounded on a non-physical level by consciousness residues that are trying to be intermediaries between you and God. Let's draw it out like this. Like, let's say, here's you, my famous stick figures, and here's God, the infinitely heavy bowling ball up there, and you should be able to have a very easy conversation between the two of you. You shouldn't have anything in between. But let's say here's an idea structure that says, oh, if you want to talk to God, you're going to have to go through me. So it could be any mythological creature. It could be like a bearded sky god. It could be a Jesus. It could be a saint. Like, if God can't hear you, talk to a saint, and the saint will help you to find your lost object, or whomever you have to pray to, or whatever. It's an idea structure. And I think it's a faulty idea structure. Now, I don't want to tell you that you're alone surrounded by evil, but I want to tell you that I think that it's more correct and healthy to think of your connection to God as being direct, as not requiring any type of intermediary. Maybe even imagine that black dot, as being in here, like inside of you somehow, so that there's no distance between you. It's not like, here, let me write a message, and then you take my message and send it to God, so I know God knows what I need to have happen. Like, there should be no distance between you and God. Like, if you need coffee in the morning, like, I'm out of coffee, God knows you're out of coffee. Like, God also wants coffee in the morning. God knows. So it's not like, oh, angels, be sure to tell God that I'm out of coffee and make sure I get some more coffee. Like, no, there should be no. So where did we get the idea of angels from? This is a biblical construct. I think the Bible is highly flawed. Again, I'm not trying to say that good does not exist, because that's where some of my wonderings came from, during my wanderings, as I walk and I think, where is goodness is the real question. Because something, in my experience of being here, I feel a lot of evil around me. I feel a lot of synthetic telepathy, and I feel a lot of, let's say, malevolent presence in the non-physical sense. And I say, where is good? Like, I know that God is for real. I know I am for real. So it's like saying, okay, like, I know the composer is a good composer, and I know I'm a good musician. Like, where are the other good musicians? And the answer is you guys. You guys are the angels. Do you understand? And my dog is sleeping. It's very hot. I think she's like in a dog bed where it's nice and cool somewhere. Animals can absolutely be embodied angels. So the idea is there is a complement to a supernatural consciousness residue that is not embodied, that has a malevolent intention for humanity and for everything. It is really like in a state of profound self-destruction and self-hatred. That is how you can understand the demonic persona or the evil persona. And there is a complement to that. There is the loving, unconditionally loving, and that does not mean hugging. That means like heroic, noble, doing things with the intention of giving to others and improving the totality, the holistic improvement there. And also the idea of one that is stronger protecting one that is weaker, totally appropriate, or one that is older and mature protecting one that is very new and naive, totally appropriate. Those consciousnesses do exist. And those motivations do exist, just as the motivations of evil exist. But angels, or those motivations of highness and benevolence, they don't exist on the membrane of death. They don't exist on that line that is red that I drew in the diagram. They either exist at God, at that singularity point, in a non-physical state, in the state of totality, in infinity. They exist at infinity, and they exist here in a state of embodiment. People like you and me and organisms, truly, there are embodied organisms. This is big, because I'm asking you not to say, if I need something, I'm going to ask an external God. Now it turns around to, if I need something, I'm going to connect with God, which is internal, and not I'm going to ask an angel to take my message to God, but I am going to be an embodied angel. Like, the description in the Bible of what angels are is that they follow God's command. Think about that. It's like saying you're a musician who actually follows the musical, commands of the composer and the conductor. That would be the definition of an angel. And God does not command you to die. God does not command you to put your consciousness on the membrane of death. So, and again, so as I'm saying this, I don't want to get into any kind of wranglings like with a biblical scholar or anything like that, and I'm not intending to be disrespectful to anybody who has that viewpoint. I'm intending to present a different viewpoint that is not based, like, I'm not acculturated to the Bible. And so when I come here and I wear a cross, I'm thinking, la la la, I'm wearing Christ consciousness cross, and then I'm realizing, oh, like, this is all coming through the cultural filter of people who have read and understood the Bible, or the people who taught them read and understood the Bible. So what I'm trying to present in Flying Rainbow Lasagna is a different understanding of, Rainbow Body, thank you. She says minerals, shungite, plants too are helpers. Absolutely, completely. For anybody who's new, I'm always drinking out of this. This is shungite, the mineral. I feel like it is so helpful to me in this time and place. There are angelic, benevolent presences that are in the physical world that are, how can I even say, it's very challenging for me to say with words. That angels are alive presences as opposed to purely spiritual or supernatural presences. And I think that there's this idea of humans who are embodied thinking you're low, greasy, poopy things, and you have to brush your teeth, otherwise you get bad breath. But angels being so perfect that they don't even have, an anus, and, nothing comes out of their butt. That I think we have to change, like rewrite our sense of what we look up to, and instead to appreciate the complexity of having a biological system. I was guilty of this too, or I fell into these same traps of perception too, because when I first came into this body, I condescended to it a lot, and I didn't think that the body was very sophisticated, and I also wasn't fully present in my body, like I wasn't running all of the aspects of it, so I didn't even know how amazing it is. So what I will predict to everyone else, what I'll tell you about my journey, the more that I lived in this body, the more that I learned about its care and feeding and proper hair washing, and the more that I learned about nutrition and the connection of the microbes in my tummy to what's going on in my garden, and then becoming a gardener, the more that I learned about that, I learned about the complexity of the entire life system that I find myself in. Then I started to say, wait a minute, this is not some simple, stupid beat. This is a really complex polyrhythm that's going on by this great composer. And I simply was not listening well enough to be able to even understand and play along. So what I will predict is, I think, what we will all feel as we're on this journey of refinement of consciousness, not that you leave your body, not like, woo, I can't wait to get out of my body, like this new age thing of like, bodies are so, I'm so over my body, or even the technological virtual reality transhumanist thing, which you know is not my thing at all, but the idea of somehow getting rid of your body so that you can become more sophisticated. I don't think that's what's going to happen. I think, or in the best terms, I would say I would choose for that not to happen, because I think you should stay in your body, but just keep on exploring more and more and more how complex and sophisticated your body is as a system. And as you do that, you realize how much more it can be healed. Like teeth can be restructured, molecules can be restructured, your body can be, you can change the blueprint of who and what you are on an energy level. There's so much that can be done just with your body, and then moving through time. Let me go to Richard, and then let me go into the actual information of level 1, level 2 for today. Pedro says, in Christianity, there's the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, and that's God, us aspects. But what is the third one? I don't know. So much of Christianity, like Catholicism, the way it is presented, it never made sense to me. So when I came here as Aurora, like I immediately was drawn to the cross because of my experience of Christ consciousness. And I looked into different teachings of churches and different Christian writings and things like that, and went to different churches, literally. And at first I was like, woohoo, I found my people. And then the more that I investigated, the more I'm like, oh, whoa, whoa, whoa. Kind of like that tight collar thing, like, no, these ain't my people. I had to kind of learn that, but I was so naive. And I also didn't understand that the symbolic representation of the man with the beard, like, was symbolic of so many things. That's not what I embraced. That it was like the death cult, the suffering cult, all of those things, the nobility of suffering. So yeah, I had to kind of like get antibodies to that, kind of like going to someone who's got the flu, getting a little bit of the flu, and then you're like, no, I don't want the flu. So yeah, I had to kind of get past that. So I do not understand actually the Christian teaching of the Trinity. And I think that a lot of the teachings of Catholicism, I think, no offense, but I think a lot of it is just a complete mind effery in terms of social control, social engineering, and programming humans for an eventual like experience of satanic afterlife, you know, to go to the membrane of death, not to transcend it in any way. So Richard says, it's my understanding that masters, quote unquote, such as Jesus, Buddha, and many others are available to help us consciously progress. But we are not to rely on them, or even you 100%, especially after our training wheels, quote unquote, are taken off. We have our walk to walk, and help is available from you and whatever master coaches we choose as and when needed, correct? Yeah. So here's my best understanding of the idea of the ascended masters. Like, remember, we're doing this journey. It's a journey from the source out into reality and then back to the source, which is the destination. Lots of athletes finish the marathon. I'm so thirsty. That's why it's so hard for me to talk. Let me drink more. Many athletes over this planet's experience and other planets' experience have successfully finished the marathon. They went places and then they finished. They, completed and went back. And the idea is that they are here for conversation or connection. Like, they are still in existence, but the question is, if you can connect your singularity to this singularity, you can connect with them. And in terms of like reaching out for telepathic support, I would think of them as an aspect of self, like like you are a ray of consciousness, like imagine a beam of light, and they are an aspect of self, like a lens. And that lens is available for everyone. There's the Jesus lens, there's the Buddha lens, there's the Krishna lens, and you can send your aspect of consciousness that is like a flavorless ray through these lenses. And as they go through the lenses, they pick up the flavor or the color or the qualities of that particular teacher that was here. And this is how I can understand that people do have like a consciousness connection to the teachings and the nobility and the success of those teachers. That's the whole idea. Like, let's talk about a museum. Museum is ideally, again, I speak in utopian visions here because there's a lot of crap on the walls in museums right now, but utopian visions. Museums are supposed to be like footprints that guide people through on an art journey from the best things from the past. So it's like the best thing that was painted from this era, the best from this era, this era, this era. And as you walk through a museum, you are supposed to learn from the embodiment of the best, the pinnacle of the best of what is available from that culture or that time. And that's how I think of master teachers like a Jesus or a Yeshua, the historical Jesus, a Buddha, or Siddhartha was the guy's name. Because, you know, humans tend to idolize people. Even, you know, the idea of taking like a regular musician and turning them, giving them a new name and then turn them into David Bowie. Like, you know, that wasn't his real name. They take on a stage persona. So I think we as humans have a tendency to do a little bit of, go a little fan crazy, a little idolizing of this. And I want to break that down because I want you to be the rock star. I don't want you to be like, oh, you're the best musician. Can I just be near you? I want you to be like, hey, like, I play the guitar. I write the songs. I'm not good. That's how it's supposed to be. That's what we were intended to be. So that's also part of my insight of sharing what I was thinking about angels, to not simply think that you are a stupid, lowly, poopy sinner here with, you know, whatever, matted hair and blackheads. And that instead you think like, no, like you are an embodied angel here on a mission and a purpose. And that, no, you're not just here to suffer and die. None of that type of thing. And the idea of each one of us being a shard of each one of everyone else. And this is how I see the world, and it's also part of the teachings of the Far East, the Buddhists with their rainbow body. I gotta drink more. And the ancient Maya also looked at the world in this way too. Like one ray of consciousness that is coming through a crystal that is multifaceted. Oh, I've even got a crystal ready. One ray of consciousness that comes through a multifaceted crystal and then is diffracted into all these various individual viewpoints that are people like you and I. So it is a way of saying like there's that divine light that gets fragmented into all these different viewpoints. And then I would even say that's the journey that we're on, is to refine ourselves and recognize the divinity that's inside with other people. Yes, so, okay, wait. So in terms of being inspired by other people, being inspired by other artists from the past or other teachers from the past, or how about the present? Other people who are here presently. You can be inspired by someone else. Like there's, it might be an athlete. I see all the time videos of athletes doing things that inspire me to greater athleticism. And there's this one lady that does these back bends on Facebook, and I'm telling you that is probably not in my repertoire. Like I'm never gonna be like that. I won't say never, but that, wow, she is extraordinary. I don't try to be like her, but when I look at her graceful movements, I'm like, oh, that is what can be done with a body. Like imagine what I can do with my body, or watching a graceful ballerina, something like that. So it's taking the inspiration or the scoops from the genetic banquet, even the concept of what can be done with a body or with a life or with a paintbrush. Like that's the idea. You go to a museum, you're like, that's what you could do with a paintbrush. Yeah, I'm gonna go home, I'm gonna get a paintbrush, I'm gonna do something too. So I agree with totally everything that you're saying, Richard, that really it is about master coaches. Like you say, I'm inspired by what that person did. I'm inspired by how they transcended their difficulties and reached these great heights, even in this poopy world, even in the way that things are. Ellie says, can't we think of angels as something like you, which means we can respond to you and also connect directly with the divine? Absolutely. Like I would say, I could totally consider my dog to be an angelic embodied being. And I mean, I don't speak about the way that she, you know, she's trained as a service animal. I don't speak about that much. But she has a huge positive impact on me beyond being a mere companion. And even just companion animals are really amazing. But yeah, because I've done a lot of training with her on the medical aspect of being able to alert if she's sensing anything in my neurological structure that's going awry, and even to, you know, respond in some way, to do something. Like she's done that many times for me. So it's beyond telepathic. It's like a type of direct energy communication. And I'm telling you, she is a creature teacher for me, because I learn a lot from humans, but there are ego barriers, trust barriers. But I found that domesticated animals like cats and dogs, and I've interacted with horses a little bit, I can really connect with them on a pure energy level that makes it easier. I think I'm able to level up more, like I'm able to connect more authentically with my heart. So these have been some really amazing heart teachers for me. So yes, I totally consider my dog to be, and I say that to be on a mission, because she's not just here like, you know, sitting and doing whatever she pleases throughout the day. Sometimes I require her to go places and do certain specific tasks and behave in a particular way, like we've gone on trains and things like that. And the fact that she really would rather be running around hunting gophers and eating poop, okay? But she doesn't. What she does instead is totally sits, she's quiet, she does all these things because we've developed this rapport. So all of that, like she sacrifices a great deal in terms of, or gives up a lot in terms of her free behavior, because she is helping me by going places with me and doing different things like that. That is what an angel would do. That is what an angel would do. An angel would not sit on an otherworldly pedestal looking down sadly at all the things that are happening, but like, you know, but fluffing my wings, but I'm looking down sadly at everything. No, an angel would be like, I'm actually going to be here and do stuff. I'm actually going to help you. So yeah, she has helped me in many ways. And the amazing thing is that she's not just on a mission helping me. I'm talking about my little dog here. Sorry to talk so much about my dog. But I have different neighbors that have little health frailties that I had no idea about. And my dog specifically gravitates to those neighbors to go and sit with them. For example, one neighbor had just had a heart pacemaker, and she was a little frail. She was recovering from surgery, and my dog kept going to her house specifically and wanted to sit with her. We would sit with her for like an hour, like just giving hugs. And another is down a completely different road, and my dog is really good at knowing where people live. She would lead me to this other house where there's a little boy who is on the autism spectrum, and he is, has a lot of trouble making friends and reaching out to people. But he was super friendly with her. Like he couldn't wait for her to come by, and he would go there and, you know, like get some hugs and stuff like that, you know, get some treats and then go on home. And one other, and this was a lovely neighbor that I didn't know he's got cancer and has to go to Texas to some big facility for some kind of cancer treatments on a regular basis. But I didn't know anything about that. But Cheeky would always go to him and want to like jump into his car when she saw him. And it wasn't until I saw he came back with like a little IV thing, and he was saying, oh yeah, he was going through cancer treatments, then I found out about him. And so she doesn't do this for everyone. She does this for people that need extra help and assistance. And I totally see that as the embodiment of, you know, being one of these angelic type of presences, and that it's not just her, that there are many dogs, cats, horses, and humans that are here as benevolent helpers, not merely here like to feed one's appetites, which is how I see a lot of beings that are here. Like they're just here for self-centered reasons, to eat, drink, and be merry, to feed their appetites, do whatever they want to do for themselves. And that's my dog is not that way. And there are many humans also, and also myself included, I'm not that way. When people ask me why I don't have a golden house, giant, fancy, whatever, I'm like, I'm not just here to feed my appetite. I'm actually, you know, here for more than that. I'm not here just to run around and hunt gophers and eat poop. I'm here to do more than that, right? Okay, wonderful. On that note, let me get into, oh wait, there's one more really good answer. Wait. Says David Lear, we are emanations of the 0th dimension and the 0th dimension itself. That is exactly right. And I would even, that's beautiful. That's like a comment that everybody should focus on. We are emanations of the 0th dimension, and we are the embodiment of the 0th dimension. We're what happens when the 0th dimension becomes stuff, and we're it interacting with itself. And we're supposed to be having this whole magnificent play, like, you know, a really complex movie with everything being symbolic and artistic that speaks to us about ourselves. And then the culminative moment is, I'm God. And you guys all have that moment at the same time. It's like a big, giant galactic orgasm. Now I want to get on to the level 1 stuff that I didn't get to last week because we did the semester midpoint. And let me also bring up this video briefly. I know I've got it, so that I can use a little, there we go. Got 2 things for you. I got this, good. And also Sorry, I didn't do this before class, everyone. I was helping my friend move. Here we go. Now I gotta find my face again. Technology is hard. Okay, we did it. Thank you very much for your patience. What is the Merkaba? Let me clear up my screen here. It is a star tetrahedron. So here you have an anthropomorphic figure, and around the anthropomorphic figure, you see this shape. The shape is made of two interlocking or interpenetrating tetrahedra. A tetrahedron is a pyramid that has equilateral sides. Equilateral sides means all sides same size. Hold on a second. Oh, where's my little models? I don't know. Oh, I'm not prepared for class. I'm so sorry. Oh, here they are. I am prepared for class. I take that back. Equilateral triangles means all sides are equal length. All angles are equal angles. Mouth not working. Let's drink a little something here. So this is the raw material, or like the pasta, for one of these pyramid structures. This is a tetrahedron. It is not the same as the Great Pyramid at Giza, what is known as the Great Pyramid on Earth. The Great Pyramid has a square bottom. In the level 2 teaching about the Merkaba, we will teach you how this transforms into a pyramid with a square bottom, and then you turn into an octahedron. This is the level 1 teaching. It is necessary to learn about and master what a Merkaba is and perform it on a regular basis, just on a general level, but also in preparation for being able to safely and effectively perform the flying rainbow lasagna. So these two things are interconnected. There are similarities. Let's talk about the similarities between the Merkaba and the flying rainbow lasagna. Both of these two things are a projection of your tool for envisionment. That's your imagination. Your imagination is this. See, oh, look at that. That's your pineal gland, your higher faculties. It's the projector that's projecting reality, right? And what can it project? It can project this energy field around your physical field. And you do it by making a very good mental picture of this. So I'm not just blowing my own horn here. I will tell you, just like if I tell you I have brown hair, I am very, very good at making mental pictures. And that's why I have chosen to express myself in the profession of this world, being an artist, because I'm really effective at making mental pictures here. And then being an artist is having training of connecting the pictures that are up here to my hand and actually making the pictures out here. So I've had to come to understand, though, not everybody is very effective or has this as a natural facility to be able to make pictures with their mind up here. Don't panic. Don't panic if that's you. And some people start off with other strengths. Wait, I'll go back to my face. This particular exercise of envisioning a Merkaba around you, it requires or utilizes the higher dimensional skill of higher sight, envisionment, or projecting something like a movie projector. But there are all sorts, let me put down all my stuff. I'm holding 12 million things here. All sorts of higher faculties. Just like on your face, you know, you have sense taste, right? You have seeing, you have hearing, and then our whole body, we have the senses of feeling, right? And then with higher faculties, we have similar analogous senses, but also expansive senses that don't translate into the realm of 5 senses. Like you really have a 360-degree feeling of sensation around you. And you have sensations that are internal, sensations that are external, sensations that are non-local. But you still have what I would call kinesthetic feeling. Some people start off, just like babies in their development, some babies are really good with speaking at a young age. They might say some words when they're 1 year old. Some babies don't talk until they're 2.5 or sometimes even 3. They're not developmentally disabled. That's a normal level of development for them. Some babies are great at picking up little tiny things like little Cheerios one at a time when they're really young, like when they're 1 year old, or little tiny beads or something like that. And some kids are not like that. Some kids are like all over the place. They're mashing the Cheerios with their hand and like punching themselves in the face. Those kids are not very good at developing their fine motor skills. they're not going to have a problem. They will still grow up and learn to play the piano, but they just don't have those easily in the beginning. And same thing with, being able to talk, being able to move around and walk. Children develop at different rates. This is the flat out, not one size fits all realm of development. Same thing with your higher faculties. So I started out with my strongest higher faculty of being visual and understanding things in that sense. As I've developed more and more, and also as I've developed on a spiritual level and gained more spiritual muscles, but also healed on a neurological level, like things that were aberrant, that injuries that never should have been there, my auditory came more online, and then I could hear more. And here's what it feels like to me when I hear with inner vision. It's not like I'm hearing an inner verbalized voice. I can hear the future. So if that, as a musician, you want to be able to hear the future, because if you're like, hey, I'm playing this note, oh, I don't have my piano on. I do that every time, guys. Hold on a second. It takes 5 minutes to turn on. Well, if I play one note, bum, then play the other note, bum, and I can hear the future. I know the next note is going to be, there we go, there we go. So yeah, if you're a musician, you can hear the future, you can anticipate. Or if you're writing a song, like let's say you're envisioning, as my ears came online, my higher dimensional ears came online, I found that I could imagine or envision a song that I wasn't specifically listening to. Like if you said, Aurora, in your mind, inside of your experience, play Stairway to Heaven. And it's like, oh, I can do that easily. I'm doing it right now, guys. But I wish you could plug into what I have in here, because you can't actually hear it. So that's the whole idea of being able to externalize. So I hear a lot of music internally, and now my journey is how to find the equipment and actually attach my fingers to it to make it external. And that's what I'm doing. That's what I'm, here figuring out. So all of that in order to say that this particular exercise of doing the Merkaba is a visualization. So for those of you who have a visual capacity and facility, good on you. For those of you who are still developing your visual capacity, don't panic. It comes online more and more the more that you do it, okay? And you might also practice it as if you're strong with feeling, kinesthetic. So here's an example of kinesthetic. I have a dear friend, she has since passed on. She was a very, very wild, interdimensional friend. And she was from back when I lived in Woodstock. And a couple of times, Woodstock is way north of New York City, but we used to drive down to the city and do something like go to art galleries or something like that, usually Lower Manhattan. And Lower Manhattan has all sorts of interesting architecture and streets that don't go at normal 90-degree angles. And I used to walk around with her, and I'd be following a map and be like, oh, we need to go over here. And she'd be like, no, wait, stop. I feel something here. And then she'd be like, no, we got to go down that street. The ley line goes down that way. So everything was for her feeling like she was a terrible navigator. She's not the person that actually drove the car to the city and found the parking space. Like, I did that because I can actually read the map. She is the person, though, that could feel like the interdimensional, I don't know what, but she felt it in her body walking around. And she would also go places and feel like, oh God, there's been a murder here. Or like she would like pick up an object. Oh God, she went to thrift stores, pick up an object and be like, oh God, you don't want to know what this was used for. Like she could feel stuff like that. So for her, everything was about like being there and touching stuff. And she had zero interest whatsoever in the computer world, because she didn't get anything off of touching computers. She was all about face-to-face, and her artwork was very about tactile and stuff like that. So she was primarily in her inner and in her navigation tool too, also in her navigation of the inner realms. Everything for her was about feeling. So she didn't carry a map the way I carry a map, where I can say, move 2 inches, turn right at Albuquerque, go north. I can tell you in that visual sense. She didn't navigate the world in that way, and she didn't navigate the inner world of higher dimensional reality in that way. Everything was about feeling. Like, I swim over here, and then I feel this, and then I turn over here, and then I smell for this, and then I go over here. Like that was the way that she did things. So I'm bringing all this forward in order to tell you that there's a variety of life experiences out there. They are all valid. I love that this diversity exists. I don't want everyone to be exactly like me. I'm just sharing with you from my viewpoint, and I teach my strengths. I teach the things that I really know about. Like I think I've told you that I don't really do astral projection. I'm still working on lucid dreaming. Like I'm not at that level. That's not my dance. So I don't teach that to people. So find the people that do that. They'll teach that to you. Let me drink a little bit more, and then I'll get more into what Merkaba is. Merkaba is a protective energy field, and it is something that we cultivate, just like you cultivate a physical immune system. Now, on your body, you cannot point to where is your immune system. It's everywhere. It's on everything. Like, yeah, your lymph nodes are part of it, but it's all on the outside of your skin. It's all internal. So I want you to start imagining Merkaba as an aspect of your anatomy, something that needs to be cultivated. How do you cultivate your immune system? Well, the initial way you do it is by drinking from your mother's breast, because there is a response that you're getting from your mother in response to your atmosphere, that if she gets a cold, she puts the antibodies into her breast milk. That's the first way that you begin cultivating your immune system. And then subsequently by eating dirt. This is part of basically developing a healthy shielding from the environment so that only the good pathogens come in and the bad stuff comes out. And it has nothing to do with being sterile. Like, you don't want to make the surface of your skin sterile or completely without any microbes, because then pathogens will flourish. It's just like internally in your body, what you want to have is an abundance of beneficial microbes, good microorganisms that then outweigh the pathogens. You have like a healthy lawn with lots of grass, and then there's no way that weeds can possibly grow and get in. That is exactly what we're doing. Where's this little sculpture here? I didn't make this. This was like a little stocking stuffer I got from like a bookstore, but it's a Merkaba. That's exactly what a Merkaba is. It is an immune system, just like a microbial immune system of your physical biological body. But this is for your energy body and your time body, and also concomitantly your DNA. Because remember, I told you have demons or negative software programs that are running in your DNA. And when we lived in the time before death was invented, when nobody went slanty, everybody always was in perfect alignment with divinity. We're talking about what is a mythological realm, the realm of Atlantis, the pre-flood, antediluvian, pre-flood realm. We call it like a utopian world. In that world, everybody learned the Merkaba as like the way that we learn to walk and talk and poop in a diaper as a little child. Like the same way that is our early training. This was the early training for new consciousness in that realm. Learn how to have an immune system and protect yourself from crapola pathogens that want to come in. So all of this is necessary, because as you begin to do flying rainbow lasagna, this is a form of interdimensional travel. And you don't want to go interdimensionally gallivanting all over all sorts of places and pick up all sorts of nasty germs and then have a negative experience. So I'm all about teaching you like the safe way to travel, just like if I were a driving instructor and you were just getting your learner's permit, not even getting your driver's license yet. I would never say, well, here's the keys to the car, and just drive on over in that direction. There's like a 12-lane highway. It will take you directly to downtown LA. And also, P.S., the car's in terrible shape, and there's barely enough gas in it, and there's no map. And go. I would never, no, don't wear a seatbelt. I would never tell you that. But that is the equivalent of how some people travel, which is meaning then no seatbelt would mean no protective energy shield. Merkaba is protective energy shield. Traveling means astral travel, going into the realm of pure mind or the realm of pure consciousness, which a lot of people do with some form of augmentation, like taking some form of a drug or something like that, that then blasts off the third eye, blast off, woohoo, I'm on Jupiter with Jimi Hendrix. And but then what really happens is you are not at the pinnacle of consciousness, but just in the lower realms. And I use the example of these neighborhoods, the lower astral, as similar to when I lived back in Woodstock. There was a bus that came directly from New York City to the center of our little small town and dropped everyone off right on like the little, it was called the Green, like a little central green park area. And then it got paved over and it's not green anymore, but it's still called the Green. And that is not where you will find the best, coolest people in the town. That is where you will find either people who just got off a bus or people who are sitting around and don't have anything good to do, like they're just sitting on a park bench, or homeless people, or people who are panhandling, or crusty punks, or high school kids, or because I think I mentioned David Bowie. He lived in Woodstock for a short amount of time during the time that I lived there, but like he was never going to be sitting on the park bench, never going to get off the bus from New York City and just like run into David Bowie sitting on the park bench there. No, of course not. He would be like in an elegantly appointed home somewhere, or at a party, or doing some form of creative work. So you're not just going to run into the cool people, the most celebrated people of that little town. That's the same way with the astral world. Okay, this is why I use this extensive example. So you're like just going to like get off the bus, or go into drink an elixir, go into a heightened mental state, and just go into the lower astral realm. And let's like go into like the park, where just like everything just like hangs out at the park, but not the celebrity, good musicians, not like, you're not going to meet the Buddha there. You're going to meet like people who are like, hey man, like give me $5. You got a cigarette? Like that's the type of level of consciousness that you're going to meet. Most people that want to harm or exploit you. So that would be very, very dangerous if you were a teacher and you were like, yes, sure, here's how you go into the astral realm. Here's how you blast off, but without giving you the protection. Because you also, like, wherever you're going to need protection. So one of the things I teach is don't go to the lower astral realm. How should you visit the town instead? Instead of saying, just going to get off the bus and just talk to the first people I meet, you should like have a destination, or know a little bit about where you're going, or maybe have a person's home or a party that you're going to go to, so that way you're going to find and connect with cool people. So I've said this in other classes too, and people always ask me like, how do I do this? How do I do this? And I say sometimes it has to do with having a lineage. Like I don't have a lineage, and I'm not about like guruhood or anything like that, but it can be good like if other people have already created a pathway, to connect with the people that have created that pathway, like of interior space of a philosophy or belief system or something like that. But it should be something that is untainted, and it's so hard to find something that is untainted in this time and place. So it's basically, the answer is there are private parties that are good to go to, and it's just hard to get an invitation to them, because there's a lot of the parties that you find on the flyers on the bulletin board. They're open to the public, but not necessarily good stuff. And that's usually like low-level occult, crapola, witchcraft, paganism, dancing under a full moon type of stuff that is like not. So, because when I say a lineage, we're talking about going into a mind state of a realm of pure imagination. What have other people imagined before you? What are the castles and mansions that they've imagined before you? And there are some lineages that have imagined extensive castles. But I don't want you to get stuck in their limitations. I want you to fly in rainbow lasagna beyond all of that. But I'm trying to say, if I were telling you, go on an adventure and explore the astral realm, the first thing is wear your seatbelt, have an immune system, make sure that you're going someplace safely, and also make sure you've got enough gas to get where you want to go and get back home. Have a destination. It's also really important to lock your vehicle. So that means if you drive to whatever neighborhood, I've driven to Beverly Hills, I locked my car. People joked to me about that. They're like, you're from New York, aren't you? You locked your car. I'm like, yes, I did. But that's like, protect your body. If you are going to go on some type of an inner journey, lock your vehicle. Encrypt your DNA. Protect your body so that nothing is going to come along. How about even while you are driving? Sometimes I'm like, I gotta lock my car while I'm driving through some neighborhoods in a local city where there are people that would want to open your door and jump in. There are hijackers in the realm of non-physical space. And so there are consciousnesses that are like, oh, you've got a body, you've got a DNA, I want body, I want DNA, I come inside of you. Whether you like it or not. Some of them are like, smash your window, jump inside type of people. Some of them are fakely ingratiating type of people. You know what I'm talking about, where they'll be like, yes, I'm an ascended master. And they'll insert the blank, like, I'm insert name here. Let me inside of your vehicle. I will help you drive your life. And it's like, no, you don't want any of those beings inside of your vehicle. They are definitely a harm and a parasite. They're all parasites. That's how viruses and parasites get inside of you. They always wear a delicious protein coating that your cells are like, yum, I want that protein coating. But then the chewy inside is always something horrible and disgusting. So all of this is about using the Merkaba as a protective device for wherever you travel with your mind. So the Merkaba is also a protection from events, because your DNA, that I'm asking you to encrypt and protect your DNA, protect your body, but I'm also asking you to protect your connection to events in time. Because when someone else jumps inside of your body, they grab your steering wheel, they start changing events in time. They start changing the way that things will happen and be expressed. Start changing your powerful quantum observership and the way that you are painting reality with your paintbrush into them painting reality with their paintbrush. So that's why before you start taking this paintbrush of flying rainbow lasagna and painting it, using it to paint your reality, learn and practice the Merkaba to say, I'm here in my art studio, no one F with me. And that is exactly what I do. So flying rainbow lasagna is analogous to me painting a painting. On days when I don't do a video like this, I paint in my art studio. So what I'm going to do is close my door, I'll lock the door. Because I tell you, like, kids ride their scooters up and down the street. It drives my dog crazy, but also they're nice kids. I don't want them to just be like, hey, art studio, door's open, I'll just come on in and start messing around. Like, that is not cool, because I take a long time to do these things. I don't want someone else to come in and mess them up. It could be intentional or it could be curiosity-wise, but no one else should come inside of my studio while I'm in my creative process. And when these things are done, then you take them out, you put them in a gallery or put them on a stage and you say, hey, here's the thing that I did. So we're talking now about your DNA and your studio for creation of reality and your mind and your consciousness. So in order to do the flying rainbow lasagna, you need to have your mental headspace. You need to be secure and make sure that nothing else is coming in and affecting your paintbrush and affecting your mind and your consciousness as you are performing your pure artistry of consciousness. That is what this usage of the Merkaba is all about. So it's the first, like, there are 3 things. This is the little video that I'll show you here, and I have it on YouTube also. Let me show you what this is, and as I'm telling you, it's very hard for me to do 2 things at once. As I show you this video, I will also do a little narration. Anyone, you can also find this, I got a drink, on YouTube, where I did a very official recording. I'm just going to run through this. So first of all, physical body position. I sit with my physical body in this position because I find that to be comfortable, and it's not a strain on any of my, ligaments or my joints or anything like that. But if this body position of pretzel legs is not comfortable to you, you don't have to sit like that. You can sit in a chair, you can sit on a cushion, sit in whatever way your physical body is comfortable. Many people also ask me, Aurora, can I do this while I'm lying down? If I do this while I'm lying down, do I envision it like this? Do I envision it like this at a 45-degree angle, this angle, this angle? And what I say to everyone is the position of your physical body matters minimally. Like, you can be doing a headstand, you can be at a 45-degree angle, you can be lying down, you can be sitting, you can be in a box with a fox. None of those things really matters, because what we're doing here is an exercise of projection, projecting from your inner movie projector, your imagination, an envisionment around your physical body. So wherever your physical body is, what matters is what you're doing with your imagination and how you are projecting that upon your physical body. So I sit like this. This is what is comfortable to me. And I also like it because kind of where I'm wiggling my cursor, it kind of almost makes like a cup or a bowl or something that can receive. And I envision that, like, I have filled myself up with energy from my sun gazing practice, and that area is filled up with, it's like gas for the car to make the car go. But truly sit in a position that feels comfortable to you. And I mean, I have done this many times, whatever. Like, I also say this is a practice that is similar to, like, when you're a little tiny child, you learn to tie your shoes. You might have to really practice many, many times and really focus. But at a certain point, your fingers become experts at how to do it, and you just do it. And now that you're an adult, you have done it countless times, and you can do the little finger tying motions even while you might be talking on the phone or doing something else. Like, that is just easy for you to do. I've done the Merkaba so many times now that I can do it while I'm bending over to tie my shoes. Or how about, this is a big one. right before my dog goes to play with another dog or to meet, they're on 2 leashes or if they're at the dog park or whatever, because, you know, there's no way that she can avoid all dangers and obstacles. So what I do is a fast little Merkaba around her and a fast little Merkaba around whatever little dog or multiple dogs at the dog park she is going to interact with. And I've also started to notice that when I do that, there's a positive greeting. Like instead of like anybody getting growling, anybody, you know, lunging at anybody else, anything that might be considered aggressive. When I do that, because the Merkaba, when you perform this, you can think of it as an immune system, like keep letting in what you want, keeping out what you don't want. You can also think of it as bringing you to the best possible outcomes. Best possible outcomes in time. It's your connection to time. It's your immune system from events. And I'll also tell you about my bacon grease too. And Hans, if Hans is here, he is in Sweden, so I don't know if time, like the timelines allow, you know, the time zones allow him to be logged in at the moment. I'll look on the scroll and see if Hans is here. He'll tell you about his own Merkaba story. But I do the Merkaba first thing in the morning. Like I do the Merkaba at night, right before I go to bed. I do like my bed, my room, my house, my property, my town. Like I keep making, you know, out, further. So yes, endless layers. So not to get too much. Any physical body position. I begin with the upward pointing one. The upward pointing one, there we go. The front pointy point or vertex points forward from in between my legs. And hold on a second. I think I might have just misspoken because of this drawing. Here we go. Get it going. There we go. So wait, do I have it right? I should say it like this. When I start with my meditation, I start with it in this position. So you can see there's a flat front face of the pyramid in front of me and then a pointy vertex pointing out behind me. So you erase what I said just a minute ago and start with what I just said just now. I start off my Merkaba meditation by envisioning the upward facing pyramid and that it has a flat face in front of me and a pointy point sticking out behind the base of my spine. And I also envision the base of my spine connecting to the planet, and I start to envision the top vertex connecting to the sun and the stars. And I also then start, before I even start anything moving, I envision the downward pointing pyramid. And the downward pointing pyramid has a point that sticks out from my center, from my heart, and has a flat face that is behind me, where my back is. So first, I just imagine a static star tetrahedron comprised of 2 interlocking equilateral pyramids around my physical body. And just that, like, I know I have a very strong inner sense to be able to paint with my mind. Other students have reported to me that just that is a high hurdle to jump over. So there are different ways that you can learn to like model with your mind, to envision with your mind. So one thing you might want to do is draw things out, trace things with tracing paper, make actual models like this. This is made out of fancy dancy cardboard with tape, but you can use pieces of paper or whatever. Like use all of your senses in order to learn more about this shape, or buy little models from bookstore trinket shops. And, you know, like be able to actually look at them and look all around them, or look at animations, do whatever you can in order to understand this more, so that when you then close your eyes and try to paint this on your inner movie screen, you have some good reference material to know what you're actually trying to paint. And that is similar to my process. This is why I share with you my way of doing it. It's like, I'm a marathon runner. This is how I did my running. This is how I did my stretching. So first, I just envisioned it as a static object. And then I envision it beginning to spin. And you know that you are up to speed on the spin when you feel that top pointy part and lower pointy part, top vertex and lower vertex, this one connecting to the stars and this one connecting to the earth, they make a bridge up and down the center of your body. And the center is center in quotes. I'm making a face because I know I need more water. Hold on a second. I got to duck off camera. I'm so thirsty. Hold on, guys. I'm usually very organized. Apologies. And also, it's a very hot day. This is one of those kinesthetic things. Where you're doing an envisionment of this shape. But when you're spinning, it's a feeling. So as we begin, I'll roll forward. Let me roll forward. Sometimes an animation is even better than me talking. Go, go, go. Here we go. So I make them rotate in a complementary counter-rotating manner. And I make my top one spin to the left and bottom one spin to the right. But each person has to experiment with their own equipment and figure out what works for you. So here you can see they are spinning and they start to create, what looks almost like a blurred, set of vortices because they're spinning so much. Like they kind of overlap. And then eventually what you'll feel, there you go, feel a column of light that comes up and through the center of your body. And the center can be your spine, but it is not exactly literally analogous with the center of your spine. It is like up and down the middle of your body where you feel your energy connecting from your crown to your root, okay? And that's how you know you're on target, like you're at optimum speed. So there's, back to my face. 3 different things that you can do with the Merkaba that I go over very briefly in the video. Interdimensional immune system, basic wish manifestation, different than reality creation, different, and we'll get into the different subtleties there. This is like painting an oil painting. You paint a little bit every day. This is like running a very short reality program where you're like, I'm going to make a chocolate bar, and you make a chocolate bar. But this would be more like, I'm going to make a chocolate bar. I'm going to make a whole line of chocolates. I'm going to see all chocolates change and transform across time. Like this, is a different type of thing. So, because you definitely should explore the manifestation properties of Merkaba as you go through your inner process of maturation. So I'm encouraging everyone. It's just like running a marathon. Like as you run more and more, you grow more muscles. You go strong, you become stronger, you become faster, you can do more. As you awaken your higher faculties, you grow more muscles, you can go faster, you can run stronger, you can do much more because you learn how to learn. I know if I've made this all very clear, but you get a library card, you can self-educate, you can learn how to learn. So you don't have to have me, I don't want you to have me, I want you to learn how to learn. Get your library card and your librarian that gives you your assignments, teaches you what the F you need to know. Richard has a question. Wait. Many people have questions. Wait. Many people have questions. Okay. Rainbow Body says, developing an interpersonal immune system with these practices. Parasitic energy is still trying to gain access. Closing wounds, holes now, saying no to abusive, destructive family friends. That is huge. I'm just breaking in here, and I want to read more because this is really good and I'm agreeing. A lot of the agreements that people say, I will let you have access to my DNA, are familial. Family crapola. I'm very sorry to put it in this way. And family, there are ups and downs because family ideally is supposed to nourish and protect you. Think like you come here as a little tiny infant. What do you need? You need to be nourished and protected. But what family does also as a side dish here is say, here's our DNA dance and you're going to do it too, whether you like it or not. And that is not okay because some of the family DNA dance might involve cancer, diabetes, alcoholism, all sorts of different character traits that you do not want to embody. How about religious stuff or religious crapola? Like we're going to chop off a small piece of your penis because we want you to embody our family traits. Like those things are all, So it's like the idea, like saying, if the family believes this, you have to believe this too. If the family does it this way, you have to do it this way too. If the family has this disease, you have to have the family disease. You have to have the family nose. You have to have the family backache. You have to have the family alcoholism. You have to have the family crapola. And none of that stuff is cool. What families should do is say, I want you to be the one of us that goes to college, but goes to college. It's not literal college. It is flying rainbow lasagna. That you go to University of the Universe. You actually transcend family, whatever, genetic problems and live as a healthy, abundant person without all these difficulties that your ancestors had. That's what a good family would do. It'd be like, woohoo, spread your wings and fly. Not stay here in the mud with us. Spread your wings and fly. Fly free. Okay, hold on. That was my mini rant in between Rainbow Body's comment. Back to her lovely comment. But that was about, don't let your friends and family, don't let your family have access to your DNA. Encrypt your DNA from your family. I'm not even at her comment right now. Please, I encourage everyone, and I know that there's a question that says how to encrypt your DNA. Basically, do the cosmic download, because it's too hard for me to describe with my mouth, but I'll telepathically send it to you. It's out there for you. Everybody goes home for Thanksgiving. It should be like, woohoo, we're going to all eat root vegetables. This is great. I love you. Let's hug. But a lot of it is also, oh, no, you're going to try to influence my mind and my DNA, and I start to feel very uncomfortable with this, and I hate you. Like, that is a lot of the problem that is supposed to be a happy family gathering, but instead it is you're trying to dance your DNA in positive whatever directions. That might be like, hey, drinking less alcohol or eating healthier foods than your family, than your ancestors did, right? And they might be like, no, 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 participate in our dance that we've been doing for a very long time that involves like large amounts of stovetop stuffing. And that is not healthy. And maybe you don't want to do that dance. And maybe you want to dance a more happy dance. Okay, that was, again, a rant, even in between her beautiful comment, back to her comment. Rainbow says, some leaving voluntarily, the parasites, feels much better. No more vulnerable response to quote-unquote guilt, duty programming. Very good. Thank you for this gift teaching. Immunity is interdimensional. Thank you for this crucial teaching. Thank you very much. Thank you for that comment. And I didn't mean to take away anything at all from the profundity of your comment by my rather lighthearted delivery, and I apologize for that. Thank you. Eleanor says, Aurora, could you please show more closely the wooden Merkaba you're holding in your hand? It looks different than in your drawings and animation. Yeah, this might be a little bit hard to see because it's like one of these little puzzle pieces. And there you go. If I hold it just like that, then I think that you're getting a pretty good viewpoint of what a Merkaba is. And I think that maybe you're seeing that there's an extra square sticking out, so it is a little bit different. It's like one of these knotted puzzles. But if you look at it like that, that is accurate. But then there are some extra, I think, stellations that are sticking out somewhere. Yeah. So I don't think that this is a perfectly accurate representation. Again, apologies. It was like a little stocking stuffer for $1. I have to get an accurate Merkaba model for everyone. Okay. But my drawing is accurate and the animation is accurate. If you guys need to refer to something that is more accurate. Richard says, the many arenas of deprogramming you are sharing with us is so needed and appreciate. Thank you. Thank you. Absolutely excellent. Ines is asking how to encrypt DNA. So lots of people have asked me this. It is something that I cannot say with words. So what I did was offer a template of how I have encrypted my DNA on a little mental download. Tune in and find it and then figure out how to apply the same type of thing to your own DNA. So it has to be something that's unique to you. So I envision my own unique set of symbols and characters that encrypts my body, but you must envision your own. It could be anything from sounds, smell, visualization, whatever is unique to you. Danielle says, I always have a 4-year-old with me. Makes it hard to do the Merkaba, sun gaze, and FRL. I understand. So yesterday I just looped her in. I taught her the word to say Merkaba, make the spin gesture, acknowledge the sun, and give thanks. Then we did the FRL gestures you outlined last week. So we've started doing this together, double the fun. That is so, so beautiful and really good practice too. Really good because you're totally there. All the things that other people would be like, oh no, it's a distraction, are part of the dance. And I had to practice this even when I told you I lived across town and my studio was like right next to my landlord's bathroom, and sometimes he would be interrupted or there would be other things going on that were like outside of my control, and I had to somehow work it in and make it part of my dance. So look, when we dance, We're connecting our DNA to time directly. We are directly connecting to time and events, and that includes events and other people. Like if the landlord decides that's the day he's going to do the weed whacker outside, or if that's the day your little girl is doing something, and right now I have a dog, and sometimes when I'm doing the flattering lasagna, my dog is deciding to bark at the neighbors or bark at the garbage cans or something. I have to do something. And so that is it's part of the event. It is working it in. Just like in the dance that I'm doing, I work in defensive maneuvers. I work in fixing maneuvers, like, oh, we're going to fix that up because that just got crap. You know, it gives us a flexibility. If everything were like, oh no, I went outside of the perfect pattern, that's it, stab your eyeballs, everything is gone. Like it can't be that way. It can't be so perfectionist. And that's true of all these natural systems that we're working within. The biological realm, the realm of like planetary ecology, the growth of your consciousness, the reconnecting to the divinity and to the time field. All of these are very strong organic systems. And what that means is, let's say there's a blockade over here. Oh, look, the water can't go over there. That's okay. The water will go over here instead. Or blood flow in your body, or neurological, or energy, or consciousness, or any of these things that in a computer system or an artificial intelligence system would be like, oh no, the perfect everythingness has been compromised. That's it. Does not compute. Heads are exploding. There's no flexibility. There's no capacity to innovate and, you know, form a new pathway and kind of like have a resilience. So there's a great deal of resilience in being able to have this flexibility and response to exactly what we're doing. So that is part of the dance. Like I'm doing some of this over here, and then you know, you might have to attend to something, and also you can press pause on your dance. I do that too. Press pause, stop working at those garbage cans, and then back to my dance, you know, and you can do that too. And I also find that my dog is part of my dance and adds to it regularly. You know, she dances 5 wontons into existence, but sometimes I might be flagging. Like sometimes I might be like, oh, it's really hard to dance. Like today it feels like punching through membranes, like there's obstacles or like turbulence or whatever. And sometimes she will jump up on my lap in that moment and kiss my face, or like, you know, like give me hugs or something like that. And it gives me a sense of energy and like encouragement to keep going. I call her the external battery power. So I think kids, I think young people can be that way. I think spouses can be that way. Sometimes you're like, honey, you're driving me crazy. But then sometimes, like, you know, you get a hug at just the right moment. That's like, oh, the external battery, try and recharge. I can keep going. And that's how I feel sometimes. So I don't want everyone to self-isolate and be like, oh no, don't touch me, don't be in my life because I have to do lasagna. Like, you know, the idea of blocking everybody out. I don't want you to have to be that way because these other organisms are a part of our dance. So most of the time I dance outside, and most of the time my dog is there too. And guess what? There are trees and birds and lots of plants and everything that's out there, and my dance includes them. So think of that. Your family members and even, you know, interruptive landlords, they're all part of the scenery. They're all part of the symphony of this very large, you know, experience that is happening. I used to dance outside of my other studio that was across town, and there were these little orange, kind of like little orange bushes, orange trees, but just like little bushes from my neighbors that were right there. And I kept thinking, like, these orange trees are getting super lasagnified. And then, like, they didn't mind that I would eat the oranges that I lasagnaed. So just, I think about things like they eat the scenery. Like, you dance with the scenery and then you eat the scenery. Okay. I think I'm getting silly. Back to Ines. No, wait. Oh, no, but I think that is wonderful. To include your young person, very beautiful, very good. And then doing it together is good. And you're never too young. And I think that all these young people, like, they're here on a mission, because I think that our world, like, needed profound help. And it's like calling the cavalry. And I think that they came in as a lot of young people within the past 5 or 6 years. And so just because they might still be learning simple basic things that we take for granted, like how to tie their shoes, but they might have so many other things to be able to add to what we're doing with our consciousness. So I think that they're incredibly valuable. So never too young to lasagna is what I'm trying to say. And that's also why I try to keep all of my broadcasts family friendly with my presentations and my language. I apologize if I ever slip. Ines says, can it be that Merkaba will automatically change to FRL when we think about it? Imagine it. I like that. I just asked because my Merkaba started to jump up and down suddenly and then change shape to FRL. Yes, yes, yes. That is why I saw and felt, can this happen this way? I'm insecure about this now. Don't be insecure. You are a jazz musician, which sometimes means responding to the music that's going on. So right now, this is a lasagna concert that is going on. There's a lot of lasagna music. So when you first start to tune in to the music that's going on, like imagine you just got to some club and you open the door and there's a wall of sound. Blah, 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 blah. There's all sorts of things going on. The song that's going on is lasagna music. So it's certainly, I'm certain that it is, you know, that you can hear it from far away, that it's affecting your dance, that when you first get going, you're like, wait, this Merkaba turns into a flying rainbow lasagna. I'm certain that it is, what is the word that I'm trying to say? It is a very loud dance. I'm certain that it's affecting or that is perceptible to you. So don't be insecure. I think that's actually a good confirmation. You're at a flying rainbow lasagna symphony. You are absolutely hearing and feeling what's going on. Hold on, let me just drink a little bit more. I have intertwined or used these two tools a lot. I would say so much so that it's kind of like, hey, those two notes go together. Like, I think it's just, they're like two flavors that go together perfectly. Chocolate and peanut butter, whatever. They're two things that are complementary on a profound level. That so where you experience one, it is very likely that you will also be able to experience another. So yeah, I would say I want to encourage you though. I think that that's where, if I could refocus, I want to go to. I want you not to feel insecure, because I want you to feel like these are your valid perceptions. That if you have an inner perception, a tactile feeling, or a visual perception of seeing Merkaba transform into flying rainbow lasagna, or that there's some interplay between the two, I would like for you to have the confidence to say, hey, wait, I was looking at this painting and I saw this part is red and this part is blue over here, and that was what it looked like to me. That is exactly what the painting is doing. And I think that you are perceiving accurately, and you're doing very well in that realm. Daniela says, yes, adaptability felt like water. Honestly, I used to get mad or frustrated, but just to acquiesce and loop her in made it playful and very Aurora-like. Awesome. And not to say that I don't ever get frustrated with my dog, because sometimes she wants to hunt gophers when I only have like 15 minutes to do a walk before we need to get home for something. So sometimes I get frustrated too. I'm not a perfect person at all. I'm always learning. Let's talk about diamond body and rearrangement of cells and what the Merkaba is, because there's a connection between this star tetrahedron shape and the idea of transforming from carbon, which is kind of mushed up together in all sorts of various different axes, like the way that it is oriented on a molecular level, into a diamond, I should say better, hole into a diamond. Now I have to do this while you guys are here. I'm sorry, I didn't have this prepared. Because, you know, I don't know why my computer went off and then restarted in the middle of the night. Wait, I'm not ready yet. And I always suspect techno-gremlins. I sometimes have a bad case of techno-gremlins. And so I don't know why all of my pictures went away, and now I have to get them all back again. It's okay. Thank you for your patience while I do this. Oh, good. I did it successfully. Let's talk about carbon as a hexagonal shaped molecule. What's a hexagon? Hexagon sounds like 6, is shaped with 6 sides. And hexagon and 6-sided stuff has a lot to do with the Merkaba. So let's first draw a hexagon. So that outline shape has 6 sides. Count them out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 sides. And if I just change the line structure of that slightly, we can turn it into a cube. And that's because of the magic of perspective, that all of us have been taught this, to look at the world in this way, from having screens and televisions and things like that. So now when I draw that little symbol, you say, oh, Aurora just drew a box, Aurora just drew a cube. And that's because we've learned the magic of perspective. We interpret that not as a flat, you know, hexagon with trapezoids, but instead as a cube. And this has everything to do with going from Merkaba, like to use the Merkaba as an vehicle for interdimensional travel. So I'm doing a little bit of level 2 advanced stuff with you, but I want to give you this idea of the diamond body and how we use it to transform. And this is also relevant to flying rainbow lasagna. So wait, now I want to go back to the pictures. Sorry, I know sometimes it's hard for me to figure things out. This technology, it ain't easy is all I'm trying to say. Boom. These are still shots from video. And the video is about, will it let me annotate? I don't know. Sometimes yes, sometimes no. No, I cannot annotate. So I'm just going to wiggle. All right, guys. If I can't draw, I will wiggle. I will dance. Where I'm presently wiggling, you can see that looks like hexagons, but they're like kind of flat and going into the distance. Not a good perspective. And what we have here are sheets of graphite. So okay. Carbon can be in different states. And carbon molecules are hexagonal. Where's my pencil? I had a pencil here. Here's carbon molecules are hexagonal. When they're all mushed together, that makes coal. I don't have like a lump of coal like from Santa. But then when they start to get slightly organized, they form these sheets like dinner plates that stack up. That's graphite. I do have graphite. This is my pencil. This is my mechanical pencil. And there's a tiny, 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 tiny amount of graphite right next to my mouth right now. Graphite is slippery and it's dark. Coal is also mushy and even darker than graphite. And graphite is a lubricator. Like the plates slide against each other like this, right? That's why pencils kind of glide along your paper. And graphite can also be used. Graphite powder is kind of like a lubricator in machinery and stuff like that. This is like the level of molecular organization that's in your body right now. Analogous, not literal, that you are like these semi-organized layers of carbon. And the journey from being semi-organized carbon to being fully organized carbon, or a diamond body, which in the Far East is known as the Vajrayana. Right? I can't write it out, can't draw it out. I will write it and draw it later. Vajrayana, V-A-J-R-A. Y-A-N-A. I think I did that right. Your diamond body, indestructible body, is not from adding or removing, just like I was saying, not in the intensive. Like to solve a Rubik's Cube, you don't have to add or remove. You don't take little plastic pieces off of the puzzle. You don't peel away the labels. You don't rearrange the labels. You don't color the labels with a marker. You make movements to fix the Rubik's Cube and to make it solved. Same thing with your DNA. And same thing with the molecular structure of your body. That in order to transcend the present level of reality and go and experience a different, higher, more expansive level of reality, you have to be shaped differently. Part of the different shapiness of you needs to be on the genetic level and energetic level. And part of it has to be on the molecular level. This is the molecular level, changing from semi-organized carbon over here, gets even a little bit more organized, and becomes this. And now you can see that, wait, no, that's not right. Sorry, guys. No, that was right. Okay, so start with this, flat sheets. And then these edges start to become curly and ridged, like rigid potato chips. Ridgies, not flatties, not the plain flat potato chips, the fancy, rigid potato chips. And so you're adding another dimension. Like imagine if you took a flat piece of paper and you started to fold it so that it had folds and became a fan. You're taking something flat and beginning to add dimensionality to it. But you would still have these flat sheets, flat individuated sheets. Here's the next level of what we're doing and becoming a diamond body. Then adding in these vertical struts to connect the rigid sheets. That added another dimension. So that's another dimension. So you're adding dimensionality. You are reorganizing the molecular structure of matter, not necessarily taking something away or adding something to it, but reorganizing what is there. And I use this analogy also of a key going in a lock, that in order to get through that little wormhole of possibility at the convergence point, it's necessary to be shaped in the right way, just like for a key to go into a lock, the key has to be shaped in exactly the right way, and then it has the right little teeth that go ee, and it can actually go in there and the portal opens. That is similar to our experience of going into a higher dimensional reality. You could consider this a vehicle. I've been remiss. Please, I apologize, class. Thank you very much for your understanding, because I should have told you a long time ago, this is a vehicle. This is a vehicle for interdimensional travel. Merkaba means light body vessel. It's a vehicle for travel. I have not told you that, emphasized that enough. Drink a little bit more too. This is a vehicle for travel, and the type of travel that you are doing is energy or consciousness, or what could be thought of as astral. Okay. Let me do completing the recording for right now, for level 1, but I still need to do level 2, which is recap for last week and brings us to sun gazing, which is also the prerequisite for being able to do flying rainbow lasagna effectively. So that's why I hope you can see I waited to do my weekend intensive before I got everybody on board to be able to teach you these 2 crucial aspects of melody to be able for you to effectively do flying rainbow lasagna as your own expression. So this is level 1, but level 2 is upcoming, so please stay tuned. Thank you.